Hello everyone, I am Eze Ibekwe. Friends and colleagues and my students call me Mazi Eze. I'm a lecturer at the Department of English, University of Port Harcourt, where I teach communication skills in English. I'm also a speech coach and the host of Public Speaking Academy.online. I teach people to overcome stage fright, to overcome glossophobia, microphobia, and other public speaking anxieties. In this series, I'll be talking about the meaning of public speaking. I'll also be talking about the model of public speaking. I'll talk to you through stages in the speaking process. Then I'll also talk about types of public speaking, kinds of speech, and finally, I'll talk you through overcoming PSA. What's PSA? PSA means public speaking anxieties, or if you break it down, nervousness in public speaking. So there are a few fundamental issues that we need to talk about before we run into the nitty-gritty of our discussion. For example, what is glossophobia? What is microphobia? What is stage fright? These are major issues in public speaking. Let me start with the first one. What is glossophobia? Glossophobia refers to the inordinate, irrational fear of public speaking. The irrational fear of speaking in public. And the public, I take public to mean when you engage in a conversation with two or more people, you are talking to the public. There are people who would rather do something else than talk to a public, any public at all. But the point is that everyone in some respect is a public speaker. Because whether you like it or not, on a daily basis you engage a whole lot of people. And the worst scenario, the one major issue is this. Some people talk, but they don't communicate. Some people speak, they don't communicate. Some people chatter like weaverbirds, but they don't communicate. So the whole essence of public speaking is to communicate a feeling, is to communicate a message, is to communicate an idea, a concept, and so on and so forth. So that's why everybody, you who are listening to me, you have a pressing need to overcome glossophobia so that you will be able to speak effectively, speak efficiently, and speak rationally. We'll move on to the... Okay, I almost forgot to mention that glossophobia is derived from two Greek words, glossa meaning tongue, and phobos meaning fear or dread. Tongue and dread of the tongue, dread of talking to who? To the public. I didn't also mention to you that I once upon a time was glossophobic. I had a rational fear of public speaking. How did it happen? I remember when I was a boys brigade member in somewhere in Oyibo River State of Nigeria. I was called upon to do some speech presentation to fellow brigade members. Listen, they were just regular guys, fellow brigade members, people, my friends, and people I related with on a daily basis. So on that particular day, I came out, stood in front of them. And mentioned the topic. I was to talk to them from the page, one of the verses of scripture. So I opened the verse, read it, and looked up. Ladies and gentlemen, what did I see? I didn't see fellow brigade members. I saw a million heads and a trillion eyes looking at me, staring at me, and some had smiles dancing by the corner of their mouth. I looked down again at what I read it a second time, looked up, and I saw a sea of heads. And I opened my mouth to talk, but no words came. I looked at them, they looked at me, and one naughty boy began to snigger and laugh. And I was wondering, why do people laugh at someone who is making a public fool of himself? That's exactly what happened to me on that day. So after that particular incident, I quit speaking to any public whatsoever. Whenever I was called upon in secondary school times, come and talk to a particular audience, I never would talk to any audience. Because of that particular nasty experience, I became glossophobic. But eventually, I overcame it. I pulled through. I'm going to show you as we journey along in this season of public. Okay, before I talk to you about the meaning of public speaking anxiety, before I talk to you about glossophobia, no, I've talked about that one, I'm talking about microphobia now. Let me tell you the top 10 fears in the world. Top 10 fears in the world. What people fear most in the whole world. According to most research is done on the topic of top 10 fears in the world, you would think that the first, which is the worst, is the fear of dying, but no. You would think it's the fear of dying poor and sung. No, it's not the fear of poverty. Okay, let me say this. As a result of the book of Survey, the book of List, and even the YouGov survey, all these are online. You can Google them. I'm talking about Book of List, Gallup poll, and YouGov survey. They conducted a survey to know the top 10 fears in the world, and these are the statistics. The first fear in the world, sadly, you will be surprised, fear of public speaking, called glossophobia. The second is the fear of death, called necrophobia. The third one is the fear of spiders, called arachnophobia. Then number 4 is fear of darkness, called acleophobia or myctophobia. The next one, which is number 5 on the list, is the fear of heights. The fear of climbing heights is called acrophobia. Then there is the number 6 slot, fear of people or fear of public social situations. It's called sociophobia. Number 7 is the fear of flying, called aerophobia. Number 8, fear of open spaces, called agoraphobia. Number 9 is the fear of thunder and lightning, called brontophobia. And number 10 is fear of confined spaces, called claustrophobia. Now, the point is this. It is so very surprising that glossophobia, fear of public speaking, will top the list. Why? People talk every day. People communicate. People have a whole lot of things to speak about on a daily basis. Yet, fear of public speaking ranks number 1 and the most dreaded fears in the world. Okay, now what is stage fright and what is microphobia? Stage fright is the anxiety anybody feels once you climb a stage. It's as simple as that. Somebody gets frightened, somebody gets fearful, somebody gets nervous once you are invited to get onto a stage. That's why it's called stage fright. On the other hand, mic fright or microphobia is that kind of fear that assaults any speaker once he wants to handle the microphone or once he handles the microphone. Sometimes you're welcome on stage, the next speaker to come and do a presentation, and then you mention the person's name. He walks onto stage. It's either he gets afflicted at that point in time, that's stage fright, or he gets on stage quite all right, and then gets the microphone. And once he gets the microphone, his hands begin to shake and quake and tremble. They begin to dance like leaves on a windy day. And then at that point in time, if he's not careful, the fear will graduate to his voice. His voice gets constricted. And then from his voice, his eyes will begin to water. And at that point, he will look at the audience, familiar faces. He will not be seeing familiar faces. He will be seeing strange faces. He will not just be seeing 10 people in a room. He will be seeing 1 million people in a room. That's between affliction of stage fright and microphobia, which is mic fright. You can overcome it. You can also overcome glossophobia. There are time-tested principles, strategies that you can apply and then overcome all these phobias. Glossophobia, fear of the mic, fear of the stage. I'll teach you these in a moment. But first, what is public speaking? Public speaking is essentially that kind of speech you get involved in, that kind of speech you make so as to sensitize an audience, so as to educate an audience, so as to inform an audience, so as to conscientize or even rouse up an audience to take positive action. You need to underline the word positive action, because when you sensitize people to take a negative action, that may not be effective public speaking. That may be hate speech. Because hate speech inspires hatred against a particular people and may inspire people to do something negative. But public speaking essentially is done to rouse people to take action in a positive manner. You could do it to inform people of a particular pressing concern. You could do it to sensitize people. You could do it to conscientize people. So in this connection, You could even do it to make people laugh. In this connection, somebody who is a comedian is a public speaker. Someone who is a pastor is a public speaker. Somebody who is a motivational speaker, inspirational speaker, these are public speakers. Someone who ordinarily will stand before other students in a class to address students, you're a public speaker. So the point is, you need to learn how to begin to fine-tune your strategies so that you'll be able to deliver a speech that wows, a speech that is so very effective, a speech that makes you connect with your audience, a speech that helps you to deliver the goods, the commodity of the ideas you have in mind. Remember, communication is key. And in public speaking, we say that communication has taken place when the listener is ready to listen and the speaker is ready to speak. So the speaker speaks, the listener, that's the audience, listens, understands, and gives a feedback, if any. I'll say it again. That is the circle of communication. You have the speaker who has a message which he wants to pass across. So he delivers the message, the audience listens and understands, and then gives a feedback. The feedback may be negative or positive. The feedback may be okay, insofar as public speaking is done to rouse up an audience to take positive action or to sensitize or to inform or to educate, or even to motivate, even to inspire. To that very extent, it is similar to other major kinds of communication, such as intrapersonal communication, interpersonal, group communication, and mass communication. Now, intrapersonal communication is the kind of communication we hold with ourselves. Have you found yourself talking to yourself sometime? You need to speak aloud your thoughts all alone in the quiet of your bedroom, in the quiet of a church setting, field setting, class setting. You're speaking your thoughts aloud. You are framing your thoughts. You are giving expression to the innermost desires you have. That's intrapersonal communication. Interpersonal is the kind of communication that you engage in on a regular basis. You talk to people and you talk to human beings, you talk to students, you talk to your colleagues at work, you talk to members, wherever. That's interpersonal. Then group communication is the kind of communication that usually takes place among members of a team, among members of staff in a specified organization. And finally, mass communication is the kind that is transmitted or conveyed through radio, television, newspapers, magazines, and the internet in order to access a very large audience. Now, before I round off, I'm going to talk to you about public speaking as an art and public speaking as an act. If public speaking is an act, it is a process. If it is an art, it is a skill. This is what I will be talking about in the next episode. Stay tuned to my teacher. I'll teach you the fundamentals. I'm the speech coach. Just in case you have some questions to ask, touching on public speaking, fundamentals, basic issues, nuggets having to do with public speaking, you can send me a mail at ezeibekwe22@gmail.com. I'll say it again, ezeibekwe22@gmail.com. Or you can hook up with me on Facebook at Mazi Eze or Public Speaking Academy PSA, or you could also send me an SMS at 0803 545 8322. 003 545